you to some of Photoshop's touching up features. So I have this photograph of a sunset. I took this from a mobile phone. It wasn't terribly bad, but the exposure was too much, so I had to adjust the exposure. And everything to do with photography is really here. Okay, curves, levels. So I'll just introduce you quickly to the curves. Suppose I don't want it to be too much red, I can actually drag the curve down, so the redness actually decreases, and you can see anything that are really close to red and nothing else actually gets affected. So if I wanted the yellows to go down, I would need the greens and the reds to go down collectively, because together they will make yellow. But now there are a lot of features, a lot of really simple programs, and I use Picasa a lot. Do I have Picasa here? There's one from Apple called Photos. There's one from Google called Picasa. There's one from Adobe. I pretty much use Picasa for my photography needs. So if I go and get photographs, I pretty much use this for my cropping. All my photographs are now straight. My camera is never tilted because I can just easily straighten it. So this is no longer the domain of Photoshop. I don't think you got to invest in $1,000 software just to maintain really pretty decent photographs. Redeye, you just take Redeye reduction and smack it on top of a. So if I just, you can see what it has done is it's taken away the purple, and that's what Redeye does. It takes away the redness in the eye. So let me see if I can selection, release the mouse to the photos. So if I take these things, it tries to reduce the saturation of these things. It basically looks at for the red, but it didn't find any red. So, and then other things you can do. You can change the contrast automatically. You can change the colors automatically, and it fixes it for you. You can add brightness. You can add to the highlights. You can add to the shadows to increase the contrast. You can make it a slightly warmer picture to make it a warmer day. So the reason I'm showing you this is because you don't need to Photoshop to do all of that for you anymore. So now I'm going to show you two tools here. The first tool is the stamp tool, the clone stamp tool. It's got a pattern stamp tool as well. The clone stamp tool really, I'm going to take a smaller brush because I've got a very small line to fix. What I do is I take a neighboring color. So what I do is I take the neighboring color, I take this color, I press the Alt key, I set this as a source, I come down and set this as a target, and I do a few clicks. Now, if you want a good job, you should really use a small brush. And you got to sort of do this very patiently. I've managed to repair some really bad photographs. Let's see. I'm just going to show you some of my old sites. I've got a really nice picture that I fixed up using this tool. That's a very old site of mine in the days of the blink. This photograph belonged to a colleague of mine. They are his parents. He found it in a trunk after his mom passed away. And you can see the fold went right through the face. And there are creases everywhere. So I just joined the institute, and he said he had bought a expensive plug-in to fix it. Click of a button, bang, it gets fixed. It doesn't happen. So it was cleaned up to this. Unfortunately, I don't have the big pictures, just the thumbnails. But it was cleaned up to this using the stamp tool and the stamp tool only, and with tons and tons of patience. So that's the stamp tool. The basics: you press the Alt key, click some. It's like skin grafting, I want this pixel over this part, and sometimes it will actually remember. So you can say take this. I'm just going to take a big brush. Take this color, and you can then start painting over it. So Alt click here, and we could probably get away with, because it's a sky, we could probably, so that's going to start ruining it. And this brush is big and it's feathered, so, and if I wanted extra trees, I could do that too. I could just take those trees and sort of have an extra bit of trees there. The other thing, which is very similar, and here also you can, pretty simple for these kind of things, knock it off. The other thing is the patch tool. The patch tool is sitting under the healing brush, so normally you will find this, but if you keep this thing pressed, you will find the patch tool. The patch tool has got a few options here. So usually I like to select this one and say that this patch should be fixed by this clock tower. So I take the patch and I move it over the clock tower, and I get another clock tower. So maybe I should do it a bit better. So I'm just going to take the patch tool, go here, and take it here. Get a second clock tower. There's something on the edge of it. And then what I can do is I can use my friend the stamp tool to cover up these things with leaves. You can make fairly believable stuff with Photoshop. Just covered it a bit more foliage. So those are the two things that help you to fix images, fine-tune them in terms of touch-ups.